Hi everyone. Well, I'd love to be able to talk about something other than the coronavirus, just so that we could have something else to talk about, something to get our minds off it. Sadly, however, we can't escape the reality of the world around us. Everyone is affected by it. All of our lives have been dramatically changed by it. It's understandable that people are feeling anxious and scared. This will affect people's jobs, their income, their future plans. That doesn't even cover the obvious health risk that this disease poses. The world is scared, but how should the Christian community respond to this crisis? What is God saying to the church? What is the church's message to the world? One of our church leaders was heartbroken to see the devastation that this was having in his place of work. He turned to Psalm 27 and he was greatly comforted. It's a fairly short psalm, so I'm going to take the opportunity to read it to you. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. In whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat me up, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war rise against me, yet will I be confident. One thing I have asked of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies who are all around me. I will offer in his tent sacrifices of shouts of joy. I will sing and make melody to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. You have said, seek my face. My heart says to you, your face, Lord, do I seek. Hide not your face from me. Turn not your servant away in anger. O you have been my help. Cast me not off. Forsake me not, O God of my salvation. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me in. Teach me your way, O Lord. Lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Give me not up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me. They breathe out violence. I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. We're all in a life-threatening crisis. David was also facing his own life-threatening situation. His adversaries and foes wanted to overtake him. They wanted to see his downfall. They wanted to take away his life. He was far from friends and family. He felt isolated and he was alone. He longed to fellowship with the people of God. He wanted desperately to see and to know God. Depending on what version of the Bible you are using, David, in a few short verses, describes his worship centre as a temple, a tabernacle, a house, a tent, even about being on a rock. For those of us who can't get to church, what can we learn from this? David decided to not get stuck on the importance of the physical building. Yes, he longed to be back at Jerusalem's sacred shrine, but he understood that God could be sought, found and worshipped anywhere. Wherever David was, God was there too. Where you choose to worship God, that's your temple. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? Asks the Apostle Paul. Once we realise that we can meet with God just about anywhere, then we have to decide what to do next. David leads the way. I will offer sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and I will make melody to the Lord. The lack of a worship team, musical instruments, mics, amps, even a mixing desk didn't deter him. I will sing and make music to the Lord. So, what does David do to overcome his fear? Get angry? Feel sorry for himself? No, he sets up church. He seeks God, he finds God, he worships God. David longs to look into the face of God, for he knows that when he sees the face of God, he will find the courage to face the future. He will learn that God is stronger and bigger than any problem. He will be inspired to believe again. He will be reassured that he will eventually see the goodness of God in the land of the living. His faith will be restored. The missionary Isabella Trotter best summed it up when she penned these words. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full into his wonderful face, and the things of the earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Of course, we're all worried about the effect of this virus in our world and in our lives. However, as Christians, we have a hope that transcends our earthly circumstances. We have a God who cares for us. Peter says that we are to cast all our anxieties on him because he cares for us. Paul says that we are not to be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. I realise that we are looking to our government to provide for us. We are looking to our NHS workers to care for us. We are looking to our shops to keep us fed. And we are genuinely grateful for those amazing services. But let's not forget the words and example of King David. In the day of his trouble, he decided to hide in God's shelter and to take covering under God's tent. He vowed to wait on God, to worship God, and to put his trust in God. When we learn to do that, we will be reassured of God's goodness. We will experience it in the land of the living. Truly, if God is your stronghold, if he is your light, and he is your salvation, then I close with asking you a question. Who is there to fear? Thanks, guys, and God bless.